Every season brings a new set of maintenance tasks. Stay on top of yours and you too will have a flourishing oasis. There are always to-do lists in the garden, and I really don't mind it. As we all know, there are many reasons why we garden. Well, so the best way for me is always to keep it in a book. This is my book. This is my kind of to-do list book. Pop them down, tick them off. Gives me a real sense of accomplishment at the end of the day. And certainly on my list right now, I've got pruning some salvias, and I've also got cleomes. Now, they had an earlier pruning a few months ago, but they've really pushed through. We're talking about mid-perennials, so cleome, salvia, Sally Fun, any of those, what I call the in-between salvias. So they're going to get a maximum height of about 1 meter. It's really important that we do give them a good growth check. And giving them that growth check helps to push through more of the flowers, of course, but before the flowers come all the leaves. Very, very important. Of course, once you've done the pruning, we really want to give them a good feeding. And I found some bags of kraal manure. Guys, kraal manure is like finding a needle in a haystack. So I'm delighted to be able to do a top dressing, and I literally call it a dressing, around these perennials, because in kraal manure, it is highly nutritious. It also acts as a mulch, and I know that it's just going to get those salvias and the cleome, give them just that boost to get going. Next up on my list, I have a beautiful acacia in the circle garden right at the bottom. Now, it's become a bit of a health hazard with some of the lower branches. And we know that acacias have got thorns. These traditionally known as the wachabiki. And I'll tell you exactly why, because when one of those thorns hook onto you, well, you ain't going anywhere. That tree is going to hang on to you and keep you right in that spot. And it is an area in the garden where we do walk down and we want to sit down there and enjoy the space. So lifting up those branches, 1 or 2 cross branches as well. I need to remove those just to allow a bit more light into the area around which has got the salvias growing, and we've got some agapanthus as well. So, bit of pruning with a heavy-duty tool. In order to keep that feeling of spring going in the garden as we transition through to summer, it is important to continue planting annuals. Now, you might have a gap, or you might have something that's going over. I've got a gap. So it's important that we do that interplanting. Once something is busy going over, consider removing it or consider giving it a good pruning. And that succession planting always makes sure that we will have a beautiful summer and extend that season right through. And this point relates to every season in the garden. So whether you're planting primulas, 2 to 3 weeks later, you can plant another few trays so that you really are extending that flowering time. Remember, when planting, compost into the soil, some organic fertilizer, mix it in really well, and always remember to space them equally apart according to what the label says. So a couple of tasks that are always going to keep me slightly ahead of the curve: maintenance, succession planting, and of course pruning. These things we almost should be doing on a monthly basis, guys, because there's always something in the garden that needs replanting, feeding, and a little pruning.